Hello everyone and welcome back to another screencast. This one's on algebra, and it's when we have an equation with letters on both sides. It's one of those things that maybe people stumble over. They've done one step or two step equations and then they get to this and they go, well, how do I do that? But I'm going to show you today, so it's not difficult. I promise you that. What is an equation? We've gone through this a few times. An equation is a mathematical expression that contains an equal symbol. Equations often contain algebra. Algebra is used in maths when we don't know the exact numbers. Okay, so let's have a little look. This was taken from the BBC Bite Size website, by the way. Here's an example of an equation because we've got an equal symbol there, and they're quite well-known ones. So we've got speed equals distance over time, and E equals mc squared. So let's have a look at what we know before. This is me trying really hard to remember. When we've got these types of questions, we know what we should do. We should subtract away from both sides. We'd end up with 2b equals 18, and then we're going to divide both sides by 2, and we end up with b equals 9. On this one, hopefully you remember, we're going to add 12 to both sides. We're going to end up with 3b equals 30. Then we're going to divide by 3 and divide by 3 to equal b equals 10. And as I said before in the past videos, one of the best things is that we can put that back in. So we can say, we know that b is 9 on this one. 2 times 9 is 18, plus 2 is 20. So we know that's correct. And the same can be said here. So we got, put 10 into there, so 3 times 10 is 30. Take away 12 equals 18. And we can know that we're correct before we move on. It should fill us with confidence. But when we've got questions where I think that's supposed to be a 2x, let's just put a little 2 there. When we've got x's on both sides, often people can get a little bit confused. We've used this basic rule of thumb. What we want to do is we generally want to get the x's to the left and the numbers to the right, but we could get the x's to the right and the numbers to the left. But what we want to do is just have letters on one side and numbers on the other. Okay, so let's take that as our first port of call. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my inverse operations, which is the opposite, to rejig this equation so that I have letters on the left-hand side for this one and the numbers on the right-hand side. So let's do that now. Let's start with the x's. I can take away 2x from this side and 2x from this side, and now this 2x will be gone. And what I'll be left with is 2x plus 1 equals 7. Now what I've just done is I've just turned that equation into a two-step equation, which you've done before. So now I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides, and I'll be ending up with 2x equals 6, divide by 2, and I end up with x equals 3. And remember, I can put that back in, so I could say 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, okay? 2 times 3 is 6, plus 7 is 13 also, and we know we're correct. So I'll do one more with you, and then we'll sort of carry on. And then you'll have a go on your own. On this one, I could try and take the 5x from here and subtract to both sides, but then I'd be working in negatives. So on this occasion, I'm going to subtract this x away from this side so that I'm always working in positives. So let's do that now. I'm going to subtract x away from this side and x away from this side, and I'll be left with 2 equals 4x minus 2. Again, now I've got my two-step equation. So now I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Okay, end up with 4 equals 4x. And then hopefully you'll know what to do here, which is divide by 4 and divide by 4. And x is going to equal 1. And again, I can put that back in. 1 plus 2 is 3. 5 times 1 is 5, take away 2 is 3, so I know I'm correct. So now that I've done a couple for you, it's your time and your turn to give them a go. there's no hard and fast rule about which way you take them, but I always rule of thumb is try and always work in positives whenever you possibly can. So give this one a go, and then give this one a go, and come back and see if you've done the right thing. Okay, so hopefully you've given those a good go. And the first thing we should have done was take away 3x from both sides. That would leave me with 2x plus 4 equals 16. What am I going to do now? I'm going to take away 4 from both sides. Then I'll be left with 2x equals 12. You know what to do now. Divide by 2, so x equals 6. Okay, over here, I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So I'll end up with 2x minus 9 equals minus 1. Now I'm going to add, I'm going to add 9 to both sides. Now this is where it gets tricky for some people, but I'm left with 2x equals 8. Because I start with minus 1, I add 9 to it, I end up with 8. Divide by 2 both sides, and I end up with x equals 4. And I can put that back in and make sure that that does work, but it does work. Okay. Hopefully you've given those a go. Hopefully you were successful. If you weren't successful, go back and watch. But if you were, then you've got 4 more chances to be equally as good. Just remember, try and work in positives as much as possible. That would make a massive difference. And it's always inverse operations. You're always doing the opposite as you go. Anyway, good luck. Come back and see if you've got the right answer. Here we go. It's time for the answers. And there goes all my working as well. If you've got it wrong, go back. Are you showing as much working as I'm showing? If you're not, you need to. If you are showing as much working as I've got, you can probably pick out exactly where you went wrong. Now, I know here I'm not dividing by 3 like that, but that still means the same thing. So don't be put off by that. But hopefully you've done well. If you have done well, write your revision card. If you haven't done well, go back and try it again. And as always, it's been a pleasure being with you, hopefully making you that little bit better at maths each and every day.